fight. We don't have to kill. Everybody in the whole wide world really just needs to chill. No, we don't have to fuss, no, we don't have to fight.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Just Chill with Oliver George. This is episode number 99, and I'm very excited for the guest I have sitting across from me. She's a multi-talented individual who can dance, act, sing, and so much more. But before we get into it, I want to remind you, if you're watching on YouTube and you would prefer an audio-only version of this, you can get it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and other places like that. If you're hearing me on one of those platforms right now, though, and you didn't realize that there's a visual side to this show, you can come check it out here on YouTube. If you do that, I would really, really appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button. You do not have to, but it would help me a lot to keep growing this channel, and I love connecting with new people. So if you're just stopping by for the first time or you've been a supporter for a long time, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. If you want to reach out to me, maybe with a cool guest idea or some general feedback about this program, you can hit me up on social media or send me an email at justchillpodcasting@gmail.com. Normally, this is where I would say, let me know if you want one of these holofoil stickers, but we're at an odd juncture in that we're recording this before we do the live 100th show, but this won't actually go up on YouTube until after the 100th show, so I'm not sure if I'm going to have any more of these left. Either way, email me and I'll send you something. Now, back to the guest. Very excited to have her here. As I said, right off the top, very, very skilled in many disciplines, but I'm also super happy to learn about all these things I didn't know she could do, like improv, dancing, as I said, making her own clothing. She's just a phenomenal talent, and I'm so happy to have her here. Thank you so much to Glenys Marshall.
Oh, I am so jazzed to be here.
Well, I feel like this has been in the works for a while.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I think, just kind of life gets in the way, and
the pandemic gets in the way. Yeah, but I'm really stoked to be here. This is awesome. Oh, one thing I wanted to say in the intro that I totally spaced on was that you also started a new variety show, which is something I want to get into right off the bat, because it's called
my
Small
whole life
Fish.
Right now, yeah.
Well, no, but it's also super impressive because, as I understand it, every installment has been selling out, which is not an easy task as someone who's currently trying to sell tickets for his own thing. Give me some pointers.
We're really honored by the fan base that we have. They are just very, very loyal. It's something that we never ever expected for our show, but we're just really, really humbled and grateful for it.
It's at Irene's in the Glebe.
Yeah, it's a beautiful venue. We love Irene's. Beautiful big stage. The staff is amazing. A lot of people know it because they do a very famous trivia night. They do lots of music nights.
It's been there a long time too.
It's it's an iconic part of Ottawa. So
and now you're an iconic drink, right? They made drinks after you and your co-producer.
We asked for those.
Oh, okay. It was at your request. Still pretty cool.
Yes, we asked for the signature
Glenys's
cocktails.
Goldfish.
Glenys's Goldfish and Maggie's Mermaid. We asked for them to be made for our season finale, our Small Fish Gala, which was this past Wednesday.
So how many shows have you done?
5.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is it once a month?
Yeah, last Wednesday of every month.
Cool.
Yeah.
And how did this sort of come to be? I'd like to know how you and your co-producer thought of the idea. You're trying to represent marginalized groups and give stage time to people that are maybe less represented.
Yeah, that's the main mandate. It's entertainment. It's activism. It's modeled after a show that my friend Katie puts on in St. John's, Newfoundland, which is where I first saw this format, this concept, it's a non-swam lineup. So there's no straight white able men allowed to be booked on the lineup. Obviously, they can come when we have lots of audience participation things. So we've had them on the stage.
And let's be honest, swams, we've got lots of stage time elsewhere. That's the whole point.
That's the idea, yeah. And so I saw that format. I was like, wow, this seems to draw a crowd who knows that not only are they going to get a good show, but it's guaranteed to be a safer space, and people who are showing up are from similar communities.
Open-minded.
Yeah, and so people want to keep coming back because they keep, making friends and
That's
connecting
great.
across communities, because, Ottawa gets really small as soon as, you start reaching out. And this show is a really good way to kind of expedite that process and have them all gather in one place, the queer theater.
Well, it's also like a mishmash as far as content, right?
Oh, totally.
Yes. Burlesque and comedy, obviously.
Oh my gosh. We've had so many wonderful, we had a fiddler for the gala. Cool. We've had contemporary dancers, drag artists, burlesque. We wanted to to make sure that we were putting the variety in if we were going to do a variety show, because we were both from the comedy scene, but we just have so many friends who are so talented, who we see aren't getting enough stage time, and more people should know who they are and what they can do. And so we were like, let's just, no matter what it is, if it's entertaining and if it's if it's within those confines.
Yeah, no, that's awesome though, that it's so broad.
Then, we're going to have them on. It's been really, really fabulous. And I actually, when I was 17, I ran a variety show, kind of like it at Cafe Nostalgica, down by the university. And it's a really cool kind of like time jump from like the first variety show that I ran, which had much of the same concept and
the same lifeblood.
The same format and everything. And then jumping to here, where just like a much more like refined version with like a lot of like a really good team behind me. And it's just like, I think 17-year-old Glenys would be really like,
you're doing
really
the grown-up version now.
Yeah, exactly. It's really cool.
Yeah, I've been wanting to, every time I saw one of the shows was coming up, I felt like I'd see it and then it was sold out before I could even grab a ticket. So, but I'm very interested in the eclectic mix of performers you have. It sounds really cool.
Totally. Yeah. Well, your first question, it came to be my co-producer and I, who's now, one of my best friends in the world. It was a week into meeting, and I had just seen her do a small stand-up set as part of the Fresh Meat Festival, which happens at Arts Court, which was it's like showcasing experimental new theater from youth in Ottawa, and it's really, really cool. But I saw her do the stand-up. I was like, "You're really funny. Please be my friend / get into business with me." I saw this beacon of hope in her. Her name is Maggie Harder, and she's a real genius. I always ask her that, like, how her neck is doing from supporting her giant brain all the time.
Well, she clearly feels similarly about you.
Yeah, I think we have a big mutual respect.
That's awesome. Kindred spirits.
Yeah, exactly. We were at the experimental farm visiting my other best friend and Maggie's girlfriend, Megan, because she works at the experimental farm. And we were just talking about what we'd like to see in terms of performance spaces in Ottawa and entertainment in Ottawa. And we just kind of agreed that this kind of show was something that we were really passionate about doing. And from then on, we just like hit the ground running. We were like, let's do a bar crawl to find venue spaces. Let's, start reaching out to people.
That must have been a fun process.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, seriously, it was really cool. We had never done, none of us had either had a comedy partner like this before, or somebody who was like really, really passionate about this project before. So we were just really excited to bounce ideas off each other and like do our little photo shoot and to decide our branding and everything. It was a really fun process. It was like when you get a new house. Yeah. It's like when you get a new house and you're looking around and you're like seeing all the potential and be like, okay, the couch is going to go there and my art is going to go there.
Envisioning everything.
Yeah. And the microwave can go under there. And you're like, just, it's like the most fun part of moving into a new space is just getting to decide how it's going to look like top to tail. And that was really, really fun.
And when are you planning to come back for the next
we're planning to come back
season?
In September.
Okay, take the summer to chill. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, both Maggie and I are in fringe shows that are touring right now. So Maggie's in the Always Because, The Adventures of Maggie and Megan. That's going to Edmonton and Winnipeg. And I'm going to Guelph in August.
To do?
For my show called Nuit, which is
this
like a dance theater.
Thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I've got that on here as well. I was curious about that. There's so much to talk about with you, like going through your stuff. Like I said, you seem to be someone who really, no matter what artistic thing you decide to delve into, you go all in. That's what I loved about every performance I saw. You just commit so hard, but in a way that's genuine and doesn't feel forced, One thing I wanted to know too, which I feel like is super applicable to both of us, we talked about this a bit, is that we have really supportive parents.
Yeah.
And like I was saying to my dad too, it's not that I don't think any comics have supportive parents, but not a lot of them come to like small open mics. My parents are one of them. Mm-hmm. And yours, I've seen it, I'm pretty sure every show. And whereas I think a lot of people are doing comedy because they don't maybe have great relationships with their parents and they're seeking that validation or whatever. So, but when I started looking into your parents, I realized that you were kind of like, you almost didn't have a choice. Your parents seem very musical and very just like fun, happy people. So was that something that was really ushered into your life at a young age? Just like being a performer?
Yeah. I mean, I would say like music first and foremost was huge in my family. Like I would get, lullabies like every night, and every time my mom would have friends over, family over, there would always be like a jam circle. Like everybody would have there, because my mom's from Newfoundland, and we've got like so many percussion instruments and like instruments in the house. So everybody got something, and you could always find me on the eggs, like going like crazy
on the eggs,
like,
just shaking eggs.
And sometimes somebody would look over at me and give me like an approving nod, and I would feel so amazing.
I feel like there's almost anything else would be a better thing to shake than eggs.
Oh, no. Like
oh, you mean one of those? Okay, that makes way more sense. I thought you were talking about like shaking a carton of eggs. I don't know why my head went there.
Like, you're doing great, Glenys.
Oh my God.
Wouldn't that be horrible to do to a child? Like, yeah, here's your instrument.
It's like dripping out of the carton. You're like, good job.
but also my mom's just a natural born performer and storyteller and joke teller. She's with a band called the Fumbling Fingers, and she's the
great name.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. It's amazing. They do jigs and shanties and everything you could ever want out of like a East Coast themed band.
And your parents will perform together sometimes too, right?
Yes, they're in a choir called Atlantic Voices.
Okay, so they like sing 20 years strong too, right?
Yeah. But my dad, he went to Toastmasters, which is like a club where you learn how to
be an MC.
Okay. And my dad would sometimes get like hired out to be an MC. He would always be announcing at events that he and my mom were in, or like the choir events, and so he was a natural orator as well. So I really didn't have a choice. I kind of immediately knew like how to address a crowd, and I learned like how to speak well, how to project, and started when I was like 5 years old. I was coming down and a costume I had thrown together in my mom's sewing room.
It's so nice that it must have been encouraged.
Oh yes, and everybody would be sitting down, and I would start, and I would sing the song that I had learned in French class one day. I'd wait till everybody quieted down. I'd be like, Un mouton de crayon, and everybody would be like, yay! It was
basically
so
gibberish.
supportive. I am a lucky duck. I really am. And I'm also lucky that I live in the same city as my parents. That's, a luxury that not a lot of comics have.
Well, that's a recent thing that you came back, right?
3 years ago.
Oh, it's 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
Okay. So the beginning of the pandemic, essentially. I
Yes.
guess. Yeah, that makes sense, though.
Yeah.
That's when everyone needed a bit of a support system in their lives.
Oh, yeah. It was like 2-week vacation home. Let's go. Ooh, ooh. And then...
I think I'm going to stay. I get that, though.
And now
Toronto
we're in
must
your
be
basement.
exhausting. Yeah. But did you find Toronto was kind of an exhausting place to live, or no?
I think I was making it an exhausting place to live for myself. I wasn't working a job that I was really passionate about, and I think I was putting a lot of pressure onto myself to meet as many people as possible and advance.
Like networking?
Yeah, to network as much as possible. And obviously that's very important. And, I think I became better at it by being there. And certainly the connections that I made there were really special. And there are some people over there that, became really wonderful friends of mine. But it isn't really anything like the support system that I have here. And I used to have such a disdain for Ottawa until I found my team, till I found, people who are passionate about the same things that I am. Like really, like it's made an enormous difference.
Well, plus the cost of living's got to be so much better.
Yeah, I was living in a living room at the time.
Oh no, just sleeping on the floor or something.
Well, I had a futon, so I mean,
Slight
the floor
upgrade.
would be better. Yeah. But yeah, it was just like in a living. Like I didn't have a door, I didn't have a third wall. It was very exposed.
Yeah.
And so I was just, I was not the happiest over there.
Well, Ottawa's lucky to have you back. I'll be the first to say.
I'm really happy to come back. A lot has changed in a good way.
I saw your dad actually in one video with a puppet, which I thought was pretty funny too. Does he do that a lot or no? Not to switch back to your parents, but they seem like very interesting people.
What was the puppet?
Yeah, he was doing one of these choir things, but he had a little puppet.
Oh, yes.
I can't remember the puppet's name now, but
oh my God, no! I know that puppet. I packed that puppet today. Like I touched that puppet today. That's a classic puppet that's been in our basement for many years. Yeah.
And yet when I brought up puppet, you were like, puppet.
Puppet. Well, it's just there's so
You touched it today.
We have lots of puppets in our basement. Okay. No, but for real, my mom makes a lot of finger puppets, and we do have a lot of.
Oh, you actually do have a lot of puppets.
We do have a lot of puppets. It's really sounded like a joke, but now that I'm thinking about it, like, man, we have a disproportionate amount of puppets in our basement.
Well, it's not a bad thing to have, in my opinion, if someone knows how to use them.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? It's not the size of the puppet; it's the way they use it.
Yeah. Finger puppets can be just as efficient. Yeah. I mean, I think dolls would be a lot creepier than puppets.
We have a lot of dolls as well.
really?
My grandma collected like those very ornate ceramic dolls.
Yeah, that's a little creepy.
I loved them. Oh my gosh, I loved their frilly little dresses and their dead eyes. And sometimes you would have like the eyes that like blinked really slowly. They're all made out of like porcelain.
Yeah, if you like tilt the head, they would kind of blink. I think my mom had one of those.
Exactly. And I love those dolls. I was a dolly girl. I love.
I mean, it
dolls.
makes, I think, more sense from a female perspective growing up, maybe.
Yeah.
I just didn't have as much exposure to dolls in my day-to-day life.
I mean, you had action figures. Action figures are just...
Yeah, but there was no movies about creepy action figures like staring at you while you tried to go to sleep or whatever.
Right, yes.
There was, I guess, some movies about action figures coming to life, but they were usually pretty nice, like Toy Story.
Right, yeah, no, exactly. And everybody loved Toy Story.
Or Small Soldiers. That was another one where the toys came to life.
So I didn't see that one.
1997, so I'm learning like a year before you were born. Maybe why you didn't see it. Phil Hartman's last movie, if I'm not mistaken. And who else was in that movie? But it's like these little toys that come to life.
Like the army men?
Well, one team is like these soldier guys, and the other team are like these alien, I guess I would call animal hybrids of some kind.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The two warring factions. I don't even remember how they were imbued with the ability to be alive, but anyway, I don't know why I brought up Small Soldiers, but you should check it out. I'm going to like this. I don't know.
Yeah, for real. Sorry. My friends have been saying for real as a joke. Now it's become part of my vernacular.
Oh yeah, I've never heard someone use it twice, but
yeah. Well, you write FR. Like that's
God.
like what you.
My kids do that stuff. I'm so not it's the same reason I don't make short videos, I guess. I don't like abbreviate writing. I'm usually the one who will spend way too long going back and putting that apostrophe or like, I don't know. Just have good grammar and spelling.
No, gotta capitalize what needs to be capitalized for sure. It's hard as someone who is very passionate about grammar like myself, but also wants to remain relatable and trendy. I'm like, how can I?
Efficiency too, right? Like,
yeah. How can I make this super like relatable and funny, but also grammatically right? Not a headache for me to read.
There's no way to do it. Yeah.
No.
And it'll happen to you eventually. You'll have kids and they'll do something that makes you feel super old. But texting and abbreviating stuff is definitely one for me.
Yeah.
My daughter will just, I'm like, is it that hard to write thank you instead of TY?
I don't know if kids are for me just for that reason.
Well, this is something I actually wanted to ask you because we were talking about your parents and how great they are. I wanted to know if you had the inclination thinking, maybe I'll be a mom one day.
No.
Interesting. I find that interesting.
No. I was thinking about this in the bus ride over. There was somebody who was bringing their kid onto the bus, sitting them down and having a conversation with them. It was really nice. The kid was like very young, like 6, but they were just pals, on the bus. And I was like, that is really, really wonderful. And I would love to have that relationship with a child. I just don't think it's going to be my child. Like
maybe a sibling's child or something.
Yeah.
You have
I think a lot of comics will agree that they're kind of born to be the fun aunt.
Yeah, I could see that.
Which, I mean, and comics for moms, I love you. You're so hot. I love you and respect you guys so much. But I think I'm not alone in thinking that just like, I'm meant to be a fun aunt and support my brother's kids. And that's
there
about
you go.
it.
Yeah, I was wondering if you had a sibling, but as long as you get that opportunity to be somewhat of an influence on a little blossoming mind.
Yeah, and I mean, I was a camp counselor for a while.
Okay.
Like, I just this past summer, like last summer, I was the artistic director at a sleepaway camp, which really just was arts and crafts head.
I saw a clip of this. You made them do like a little play.
Yeah, I ran drama club. Yeah, so we put on 4 original plays. Me and the kids, we wrote them together.
No. They wanted to, but you were coaching.
Yes. Sometimes I would star in one if a kid was too shy to go on.
Oh no.
I'd be just like, okay, well, give me that tiara. Just like the show's got to go on. You stay back here.
Just like squatting down real low.
Pretty much, yeah. Because like I knew all the lines and everything, but I would write like original music for them, and they would come up with characters and costumes that they felt really like comfortable in and really liked doing. Because I mean, the story really wasn't that important. It was just that they were playing who they wanted to play, and they were, having fun.
Giving it their all.
Yeah, exactly. And getting along with everybody. Like nobody's saying like, oh, this plot makes no sense. They're children, you know?
They're gonna be like, we left some threads.
The
hanging
rainbows
here.
are alive and they can eat Pop-Tarts if they want to. Like it doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to a camp like that when I was a kid. I think I was grade 6. I was probably like, whatever that is, 11, 12, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And it was not like a sleepaway thing, but it was 1 week, maybe 2, and you went every day, got dropped off in the morning, got picked up at like 4, and it was a fun experience. We did like air bands, and for the final play thing, I got picked for the lead. I remember feeling really like good about that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
You were like going around like top shit on campus. Like, yeah.
You know why? I think it was just because I could memorize shit. And, and I had done really well at public speaking
Very
not long
important.
before that. And yeah, they were just like, this kid can remember the script. And
It like very important asset in the camp drama sector for sure.
well, just stay focused, I guess, too, is probably really hard with kids, keeping them from just picking their ass or whatever kids do.
Yeah. I feel like once they were doing something that they actually enjoyed, like once they had like a character that they wanted, and were working together to make something, they got very focused. You know, like it was when you're put in the ensemble, or you're doing a role that maybe is too big for you, right? It's not going to be an enjoyable experience. You're going to clock out.
Yeah.
But I gave these kids like a lot of the freedom to like choose what their characters like looked and sounded and what role they played. Like sometimes there was like no villain. There was like
We're all
a
the
problem,
hero.
but everybody's the good guy, right?
The name of the play, The Protagonist.
The protagonist. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that was, and some kids want to be villains. Some kids want to be really evil, and you have to nurture that.
Hey, where's that kid that was dissecting the cat? Let's get him
It's
in
like,
here.
he'd need his creative flame for my production.
Need his smoldering eyes.
But it was super effective. They were really focused, and they put together some amazing stuff. I was really, really inspired by those kids.
That's clever, though, because you're helping them immerse themselves by feeling like they're part of that creative process and not just doing what someone else is telling them to do so much.
Yeah,
I made this character. I can embody them now.
Yeah, no, kids are so smart, man. Especially when it comes to stuff like that, when it comes to storytelling and how stories should work and how stories are fun. Like there was never any absence of fun or imagination or left turns. And if you take that and run with it, kids are not only going to love it. Be like, that was my idea. I said the Pop-Tart thing. That was me.
Yeah. They can't believe you're letting it go.
No, you just put in as many things as make sense, and they love it. And it was a really enriching experience for me. I had a really, really nice time doing that.
It's so fun seeing what kids will come up with, since they don't have all the filters that we sort of acquire as we get older, or our sensitivities or our fears or whatever motivates us to act a certain way. Kids just don't have most of that, and they're so raw, which could be good and bad. But when it comes to like imagination and stuff, it's very, very amazing to kind of witness.
Oh my gosh, I just remembered you saying that. I just remembered this one kid who we were doing like this. It was the play was like Aliens Come to High School.
Cool. Sounds fun.
These kids love things set in high school. They love the cheerleader jock like dynamic.
They're like elementary, right?
Like the ages were, I think it was like ages 6 to, I'm going to say like 6 to 15.
Oh, so some of them might have been just starting high school. Okay.
Yeah, but they loved the high school setting. So we did Aliens in high school, and there was this one kid who was playing this like kind of brainiac alien. And to fit the character, I gave him one of my notebooks for him to like kind of like write notes in and everything. And I thought he was like pretending the whole time, but he gave me the note back at the end of the session, and I saw not only like that he was actually writing things like humans seem to enjoy this brown food, and like so in character, but also like notes about his character, whatever his name, like Splurgon enjoys like when friends compliment him on his note taking.
Weird. He was doing both at the same time.
Yeah, he was doing like character analysis. I was like, oh my God. Like, and I didn't know it this whole process. I thought I was just faking writing notes, but he was really into it. It was cool. It's going to
be the next Daniel Day-Lewis or something.
Yeah. And that was really special. I was like, you felt like really just like, I bet you felt like really in your element at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so spending so much time with kids, there was a question I had for you, which what do you think makes a great parent, or what are some qualities that you think are essential to being like a really great parent?
I think just, listening and communication is the most important thing. Communicating with your kid is something that is very difficult, but I think very essential.
Well, you were also doing improv coaching, right? I read that. I was very surprised. Well, not surprised. I just didn't know that about you. And I did the improv games when I was in grade 9.
Oh, cool.
Once, and I did abysmal. I probably talked about this on here. I'm not sure. But yeah, I was in grade 9 and all in our rehearsals, I was very much like a good part of the group.
Yeah.
And then when we got to that, it was just like too much.
Dude, we all have those shows. We just croak.
I'd never been in front of a crowd that big. Like,
the CIG.
So professional, you know?
Yep. No, especially, and God, like those have been like the real golden days of the CIG.
This would have been 2000. Yeah.
Man, what I would give.
What
I would give to be
well, you were
one
too.
of those games. I know,
And I'm old again.
but like it's just been it's a wonderful organization. I've been a part of it for, coming on 11 or 12 years, something like
wow.
that. But yeah, like I started when I was 13, and it was, and I've been with it ever since. It is such a wonderful group of people, and I would not be the person that I am or the performer that I am without it.
I sometimes wish I would have stuck to improv because it does seem like something that's got to be so therapeutic. I remember it being therapeutic, doing it like when I was feeling it, and I felt when there wasn't the crowd and we were just doing it in front of the class or whatever. I remember it being so invigorating, but also freeing because unlike stand-up or something that you've planned and gone over, it's just like, no, you don't get to do that here, and you just have to kind of get on board with that. And that in itself really, I don't know, I could see that translating into a lot of other social hangups and things people might have, and being like that same attitude of fuck it, like let's just be here now and get into it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, it especially taught more control than anything else, because I was a very extroverted teen. I kind of flitted from friend group to friend group. Like I had a lot of energy and a lot of ideas, and I was very loud and opinionated. And when I was in an improv scene, I was really forced to like take a step back, evaluate, plan, think like, what could I do that would be like most beneficial to my teammates, and that control and that restraint when it comes to performing is still something that I'm trying to work on. But being an improv made it a whole lot easier. You know, when you come out of the gate like swinging too hot, or you give the audience like
especially when
a
you
little too much, and and you don't give yourself anywhere to go. Or like you kind of want to maintain a certain mystique and let them in on stuff kind of like little by little, and having that control over a scene is something that has truly changed my performing style so much. Like the keeping audiences interested, and the giving them somewhere to go, giving them stakes, you know, giving them problems and storylines that stretch from like A, and then you forget about it for like 2 hours and then it comes back. It's like, you know, it just I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, improv is something I think everyone should at least try once, even if you think you might suck at it. I feel like
100%.
Give it a shot. You know,
100%.
Yeah.
As part of Small Fish, we're trying to start an improv school. We're like doing like Small Fish Presents School of Fish.
Oh, cool.
And we're going to be, because Maggie and I both have lots of experience teaching improv and stand-up and sketch and all that kind of stuff. So we want to bring all of that together and start running classes and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Where would the classes be held?
We're thinking definitely we want it to be somewhere downtown. We have a venue picked out, but it's still a little bit TBD.
Still figuring out the
Yeah,
logistics.
but we've got a great team behind us. We are just coming fresh off the Fringe Festival. We are also both involved in the Youth Infringement Festival, which is kind of the same, but just from people 16 to 25.
Okay.
And it's just, we're really confident that this will be able to take off in the fall.
One improv thing I saw you do, which, I mean, it was lucky timing, but it was so great, was you were in, I wrote it down. Where is it? Matt and, where is it?
Oh, Matt and Ben.
Matt and Ben, thank you. I don't know why I can't find it right now. It's probably on the other side. But there's like, you were performing near a train track, and as the other main character is having a migraine of sorts, this train happened to roll by like perfect timing, and then you played off it like beautifully. That must have felt like amazing at the time that actually worked out.
Yeah, I said, oh man, that hit you like a train. Are you okay?
Yeah, and everyone was kind of just like...
That's, like, oh my gosh, it is so funny because that was, I think, like all of my people were there. You know, it was like it was the big show. Like everybody came to that show. And oh my God, and just to have months and months of work kind of just like go unnoticed, be just like, the train thing was so fun.
Yeah, and they all think you somehow like were in cahoots with Via Rail.
Oh my God. I know, you're just like, thank you so much, you know, but
it's great because it
how
could
about
have been
that
a bad
scene
thing.
work?
Yeah, exactly.
How about that stage combat, you know? No, that was super fun. I love doing that show. That was great. Especially like outside theater, environmental theater is always really fun because you're taken outside. You as the audience member are just, you know, you're in a new environment. And I think it's very exciting.
Feels very invigorating for sure, I would imagine. And I mean, as long as it's not like raining and shit, that's gotta suck.
No,
you have to cancel a show. But
yeah.
just pick the weather, I guess, like try and plan accordingly.
Yeah, we had a lucky week for sure.
One thing I want to ask you about is in relation to the musical comedy I've seen you do, because I love everything I've seen you do, but I also think that it's very unique that you actually play the keytar. And at first I was like, oh, she's just doing that for like the gimmick because they look cool, and it's like, who plays the keytar? But now I'm like more convinced that you legitimately play the keytar. So is that true?
I do legitimately play the keytar.
Like I know you can play it, but I didn't know if you were just doing it for the act kind of here and there.
Yeah.
But do you like practice?
Well,
like
the first, the first time I held a keytar was, I was at my friend's house and he had a keytar and I was just kind of like diddling around on it. And then I realized that it had a preset sound, like, you know how they have those preset songs on there.
Yeah.
And it was Last Christmas by Wham. Like do 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 do. Like it was very stiff, but it was that, and that's like my favorite Christmas song. I was like, that's so funny. It's the middle of June. Can I borrow this to do like a bit at Eddie's Diner where I'm headed tomorrow evening?
Yeah, I think I remember this.
Yeah, and so I had the keytar out and I just like lip synced to Last Christmas while this dinky little preset played, and that was such a hit. Like everybody really liked it. And then I think like a year later, my dad bought me a keytar for my birthday. And I was like, wow, like this is real now.
So tell me, as like a musician, I should know, because I played guitar and stuff like that for a long time, but a keytar, I've always kind of wondered, is it just a gimmick? Is it essentially just a keyboard that you have on a strap, or is there unique things about a keytar?
Yeah, I mean, the keytar is a really wonderful beginner's instrument because I used to play the piano as a kid, but I gave it up after Mary Had a Little Lamb like kicked my ass. Like it was, oh my God, I could not get past that freaking song. But part of it, why I found piano so hard was because I had to use both my hands. And keytar is great because you only have to worry about one of your hands, and the other hand is just kind of doing, you know, it can change the octave for you, it can change the tone for you, you can do like a modulate, like a wah wah wah. You know, like you can sustain a note. And also like the vibe of the song is very much influenced by the setting that you have it on. So you can like experiment with sounds. Like there's one song in which I choose a sound on my keytar that sounds like a phone notification. Because midway through the song, I do like a boot-up. To mimic a phone application.
Like you just got a text or whatever.
Yeah, and that wouldn't work on like horns.
Yeah,
it was like
sure.
wah wah, you know. So you have to, you know, it's
you can set it to
journey.
Horns? That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got brass. We got chorus. We got harmonicas.
I guess that
That's
makes
my
sense.
favorite.
Yeah, it's like a synthesizer.
Yeah, and it's just a very versatile instrument for in that way, and I think it's the perfect instrument for me. At first, I mean, with like the hair, with my look and everything, it did very much come off as gimmicky. But I don't think that mattered.
And he has the accordion, another sort of instrument that's
it was like different.
Not the cool one.
Yeah, exactly. Because I have like a baritone ukulele, which is like the last four strings of a guitar. Okay, and I was playing my songs on this, and I was like, they're not like funny enough. Like
just didn't have the right tone.
No, like it's missing like a flavor. Okay. And the keytar is definitely my flavor. It is like the perfect instrument for me, and I'm practicing it pretty consistently now.
I found when I saw you playing it too, it was really complimentary because it didn't overpower the vocals ever. It was kind of, it has a nice kind of like mellow backgroundy vibe to it.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's the volume you had it set on. I'm not sure how rocking you can get on a guitar, but it seems like an accompanying sort of. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like a guitar where you kind of, it's just the sound it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's, you can do a lot to control it.
Cool.
Yeah. I love Flo and Joan. They're huge comedy music inspirations for me. They're a duo, and when one of them is on the piano and one of them is on the eggs a lot of the time.
Nice.
but they have incorporated the piano really, really beautifully in their act, and so I took a lot of inspiration from them.
Right on. Look them up.
Yeah.
You have any questions, Dad? Sometimes I call to my dad. I know you've seen Glenys perform a couple times, and you and Mom always really enjoyed.
Well, we were at that show at Eddie's, and I remember the Keytar.
I was taken by the Diction song. That was the thing that stuck with me. That song is so great.
That is a classic. That is like the first real comedy music song I ever wrote.
So well written, yeah.
So the only thing that I would ask at this point is, it's an oldie goldie kind of approach, a little hokey maybe, but if you could project yourself ahead, living the life that you want to live, in 10 years, what are you doing?
I think I'm definitely growing my own food. And I think that I have a web around myself it's all people with their thumbs in different pies and who have connections in every which place. And I'm being asked to be on really cool projects. Like I don't know what projects they're going to be. I don't know what they'll consist of, but I mean, you talk about me being, a multidisciplinary artist.
Yes.
And I think that is because I just don't like doing one thing for too long. I love doing my comedy music, but I think this dance show that I'm a part of is a really fabulous outlet, and I don't want to lose that skill. So if there's, somebody like a friend of mine who's putting on a musical, or if there's a friend of mine who's recording like an album, or if there's a friend of mine who has like an improv show going on, like I just want to be in a place where I can ask those friends to be a part of their projects and where they're asking me to be a part of their projects. That's the level of community and the level of respect I want to have accumulated by that time. I hope that makes sense.
I feel like that's a very attainable goal. Yeah. It sounds like you're already on the road to that.
I'm feeling that already. I've really, this is going to sound like I feel like I was supposed to be in like the depths of despair at this point in my life, but I'm like the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah. You seem like a very happy-go-lucky person who's just feeling it,
I'm really soaking up life right now. I am so grateful for the people around me, and like it's already happening. Like you've asked me to be on this like super cool podcast. I
appreciate you being here. Thank you.
I'm very honored to be on it, and it's just the web grows and grows and grows, and I mean a community is just really, really important to me, and so I envision myself having a really big community that has lots of cool stuff going on.
Oh, I'm sure you'll be collaborating a lot in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't know if
straight collabs all the time. That's all I want.
I don't know if you have an interest in it, but I always thought from the first time we saw you at Eddie's, I was like, she could totally be on SNL. And I don't think that's an easy thing to get on SNL necessarily, but
no, I don't think so.
You have to be kind of like you are, so multifaceted and really great at, because not everyone can dance. Not everyone can sing, not everyone can act, and you have those three right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up doing a lot of musicals. Yeah.
In one of your videos, just dropped out. That's always impressive, no matter who's doing the splits.
Hey, thank you. I know. I practiced that for about like a month and a half leading up to that show because I couldn't quite do it. I took a lot of ballet lessons as a kid, and I could never.
You had the muscle memory somewhere.
Never get into it, but I know the stretches that you got to do to get down into it. So I really practiced for that when it paid off. And even the day before, I wasn't quite there. But I think the adrenaline and how warm I was before, I was like, Glenys, you're not quite there, but if not now, then when? And I dropped into it. Was that my Goofy Goober video?
I thought it was where there was like talking about having low standards and a bunch of dudes there. I think you were dancing all over the stage.
Oh my God, that's an old video.
It was like a Madonna type song.
No, it was a cover of Prince's
it's Prince,
Kiss.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really funny about how like your bar was just low at the time and like settling for douchebags.
It was something like the bar, because the song is like, you don't have to be rich or to be my girl, but I just kept lowering it. So you don't have to be rich or be employed.
Yeah.
Like, or this or this or this.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic.
That was, I must have prepared for that show as well, because it's not something that comes naturally to me, the splits.
Yeah, well, at least you have it on tape.
I know every time I do the splits, somebody has to film it.
Yeah, it's for the ages now.
Waste.
Yeah, I honestly just wanted to mention some of your skits that I really enjoyed because some of them,
thank
I don't even
you.
necessarily have questions, but I just wanted to mention them. Like Ernestine's Bonbons of Malice, I thought was absolutely hilarious. And I think everyone should, I'll put like a card up so people can click on it and check it out because it was, I don't know, just you commit so hard to the character that it just works. And
You gotta commit. What else are you doing in this life if not committing to your
I'll tell my
characters?
dad just so he has an idea of what I'm talking about. But it's playing off of how, they always say kids are going to get nasty things in their trick-or-treat bags, but then they come home and it's like, everything's fine. So this character is basically saying like, order my kit and you'll get like 1 apple with a razor and like 2 pill bottles full of thumbtacks. And, But it's just this New Yorker accent, I believe.
Yeah, it was kind of like, hey, how's it going? Hey, but the shoe's on the other foot, Other. What if we had a bag that was actually dangerous?
And it was, that was my
like
friend.
someone who
My friend
lives
was
in a
putting on how this was like peak pandemic. Like I think like year 1, my friend was putting on a show. It was like a Halloween themed show that was online. So there's a bunch of online skits and bits that were gonna be broadcast at the same time. And she asked me to put something together. And that was my
You should, I think, revisit that character, but in different, like, I'm sure I'm not the first person to tell you that.
No, I
Or
mean
am I?
that's like it was big during the time, but we were talking about how like
You
YouTube
almost slept
accounts,
into her there for a second.
I was hoping that nobody would notice.
No, I heard
Nothing gets past you, Oliver. No way, no how.
you had another video where you were doing all these accents and you were like going in and out of them too. You did like a really thick Cockney accent and then you switched into like Italian.
Oh
or
yes,
something.
that was for Matt and Ben. That was a part. So Mindy Kaling wrote this play when she was in university called Matt and Ben, and there was a part where they're reading the Good Will Hunting script for the first time, and Mindy Kaling as Ben Affleck is going through like all these different accents, trying to like kind of find the character. The joke being that Matt Damon is a much better actor at that time than Ben Affleck ever was.
Yeah.
And so, she's reading it like all these fun different accents, just kind of to highlight the fact that cannot read the mood of the script at all as Ben Affleck. It was a really fun play. Yeah. That was great. I felt like Ben Affleck was definitely like the funnier character in that play, which was why I was cast in that role. Because,
He is funnier.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Just in general, I think out of the two of them, I would imagine he's the funnier dude.
Yeah. Timing was really important in that play, and so I think that was where a lot of my work came from in dissecting. That was like when to like get those jokes in amidst this very kind of more serious Matt Damon character, because the joke of Matt Damon is that he's just an absolute drip.
Yeah. Kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
Not too fun to be around.
No. Very talented. Not too fun to be around.
He's got some fun movies too. The one where he got shrunk down really tiny, I thought that was kind of a cool movie.
But I mean now, I don't really watch a lot of Matt Damon stuff because he had that thing about like saying like the F word at the table in front of his daughter. And he was like posting about it like.
The F word, like
apparently you can't say like FAG like that.
I was gonna
you
say
can't
fuck.
say that
I say
anymore.
fuck around with my daughter.
Yeah, I know. I was just apparently. How funny is that? Like my daughter. Oh my gosh, she's like, and like
really?
People were kind of raising an eyebrow how like in 2022 you're saying the F word.
Yeah.
Like why is that happening?
I had a dude at my work that happened with, where he was like 50, and I'm not going to go into too many details because then people know who I'm talking about. But yeah, he was. I don't even remember what the context was, but he was throwing that word around.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, like, do you know what year it is? Like, if you would be like fired straight up if like the wrong HR person was in this room right now.
Yeah.
And that's not even why it should matter either. But it's just for someone to be so disconnected from reality and society and where things stand and what's right, really, I don't know. I had to say something to him, and I did. It didn't really do anything, but.
No, I mean, even as like a queer person, like I'm pansexual.
Okay.
And even in those like queer spaces where, nobody would really bat an eyelash if you said it, I still try to be really mindful because I'm, so sociologically speaking, like on the higher like on a higher level of privilege than a lot of people. Like I'm a woman, I'm cisgender, you know, I'm white. I have a lot of privilege, and I don't want to kind of drop a word that I don't really think is mine to reclaim. And also, like, even just hearing that word can, you know, be hurtful to some people if that word was used against them when they were growing up. Like, and it can still send like a little twinge within them. And so, like, I don't want anybody to feel like that, you know, around me. Like, obviously, like if you're gay and you feel like you're in a space where like you're tricky, comfortable using that word, then like obviously yes, use it. I'm not going to like tell you not to reclaim that word. Yeah. I just don't feel like I just don't think that it's mine to say.
Well, it's very similar with the N-word. And it's different
for everybody. It's different for everybody. That's just where I am.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with like words like, you know, like stupid that I'm trying to replace with silly, and like crazy that I'm trying to replace with ridiculous. There are these things that can be really, really hurtful to people, and you don't even know it. Like things, you know, people.
The R word.
Well, yeah, like R word, I think is even like a pretty like extreme example. Like everybody knows not to say the R word. Yeah, it's pretty
obvious at this point.
But everyone will say just like, oh, last night was like so crazy. I was acting so crazy, and you know, there's just so many other words that you could use.
Oh, I can relate to. I was acting
so silly, like I was being so bananas, and like you can use any one of these, even if there's like a slightest chance that somebody was like called crazy every day in high school or something like that.
Or the source of all their pain. That was
the word. Yeah, exactly. Like I want to start like I'm training myself out of that for sure.
Well, that's very thoughtful of you. And I think if more people did that, we'd have a much more copacetic world to be living in.
And better vocabulary as well.
Yeah. Well, my personal, I mean, again, I'm in a great privileged position, but I have had like OCD since I was 10, you know, diagnosed and all that. And that's when it irks me when people will be like, oh yeah, my OCD is so bad. Like, and they use it like very, you know, casually. And I know they don't actually have OCD. And I'm just like, like I've been through a lot of bullshit because of my OCD and intrusive thoughts and like everything that comes along with that, and anxiety, of course, and depression even, you know. So I get where you're coming from with what you're saying.
Yeah. When you think about it, that's a pretty overt, like targeted thing to say.
The OCD one is so specific.
It's like when somebody was saying like there was that thing that went around that, oh my God, this really got my goat. Which was when people were being like, oh, like crackhead energy. Like I'm giving like, oh, you're such a crackhead. And sometimes I still see that like being used unironically. I'm like, oh my God, like, can you imagine? I just think people have to be so numb to the human experience and to have like a lack of empathy to equate your like, you know, jaywalking to having crackhead energy like that. I just think that's really disrespectful to anybody who's experienced any type of addiction.
Definitely.
And so this is the thing, like as, you know, as comics, as people who rely very much on what we say, the written word, the spoken word, and using that to be our art and to influence people. Like I think it's really, really important that our everyday language really reflects who we are, that we're not passive about it, that we're always thinking.
And that you're learning to grow,
Exactly. Because like I'm really into like linguistics and etymology and everything like that. And so when, you know, a lot of people think of linguistics, it's like, oh, you're just like, you know, real like grammar nerds, you know, you are really passionate about the Oxford comma, when really it's about watching how language evolves and watching how like the way we speak and communicate evolves and the sociological, political things that come with that. And like, I just think it's such an interesting field. And so, you know, anytime there's a way that I can either like learn more, like correct my language in that way, like I really jump at that. And I encourage a lot of other people to like look within and kind of, and you know, like how improv taught me, like to pause and to think and to plan about the things that you're going to say, just in case there's somebody there. Like you would feel so... Oh, you feel so embarrassed if somebody came up to you and said something. Yeah. But the reality is a lot of people aren't, you know, that if somebody's really hurt by the word stupid, it's so ingrained in our vernacular that nobody's going to say like, hey, don't say stupid.
Yeah, like you're the worst person ever for saying that.
Yeah, so just like take it upon yourself to, it's such a small thing that we can do.
Well, and it blows my mind the amount of times when somebody could change something in their vocabulary and it would be like not detrimental to their life in any way, could only just like help someone else feel better, and then they'll adamantly like push against it. I don't get that.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing, like if you go up to someone and say like in a conflict, say, hey, that like really hurt my feelings, and you flip to the vulnerable, people usually back off completely and they feel super bad, and then you work it out and it totally can change the pacing of the way things are going.
Exactly.
You know? But that's, people have a hard time being vulnerable, and people have a hard time wanting to change.
Yeah, and like admitting that they need to change, and like I really understand that that's hard. I've had to unlearn tons of things. And there's things that I still say that I've put my foot in my mouth for because
it's hard. You don't also want to live your life where you're like, oh, I'm a piece of shit, everything I say is the wrong thing. Like, it's more like about acknowledging it and then trying your best to move in a direction away from that. If it's something that could, again, help other people feel more comfortable, I'm totally on board with that.
Totally. Yep.
Actually, episode, I think 7 of this show, way back when, like 3-4 years ago now, I had Matt Champ on, and honestly, I can't even remember what he does specifically. I don't want to mess up his title, but I know he works with a lot of people who are like addicts and stuff like that. And I was corrected on the term junkie, which I was using, and then I didn't, I had heard that term and it had never been brought to light in my life that was like insulting or hurtful. And again, I don't like say junkie anymore because like it's not hard.
Yeah, you can replace it with
fiend.
fiend.
Well, that sound better.
I'm a fiend for Doritos.
That doesn't work with a drug addict though. Instead of being like, he's a crack junkie.
No,
he's a ghoul.
I'm talking about like for what we would say, instead of like saying like, I'm a Dorito junkie, you say I'm a Dorito fiend. No.
Yeah, he's a real cocaine fiend.
No, I think that's
people do say that.
It's a little too light.
Yeah, that's like a supervillain type name. Yeah. What else do I got here? We went over a lot of the stuff I wanted to talk to you about. Although we were talking about, you were bringing up queer, and I did want to bring that up because it's a term I've heard my whole life. Although when I was younger, I would have just equated it with gay men, because when we were young, it's like, oh, why are you being queer or whatever. Like that was, you heard that. But now I know it has a much larger meaning, and rather than like trying to Google it, I knew you were coming here. I was like, I'm just gonna be vulnerable and just ask that and admit I don't know.
Yeah.
Or like, is there a clear definition of what that encompasses?
I think now it's become this really comforting umbrella term. Because I feel like a lot of young queer people and also old queer people, older queer people, everyone has a hard time labeling themselves when they first start kind of realizing that they may be queer. They may be on the LGBTQ.
They don't know exactly where they're
2S spectrum.
Okay, yeah.
And so when we're talking about like a word like queer, I think it's more so. Not obviously it's been reclaimed in a big way, but it's still hurtful, when somebody uses it out of malice. So I think having it as kind of something that can describe the entire community, like the queer community, is such a wonderful like hug of a word that is for all of us.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so that's what I think it's really about is, even if you're not sure, like, I didn't know if I was like fully like a lesbian, if I was pan, if I was bi, like there's a lot of gray area between pansexual and bisexual as well. It's just if one label works better than the other. Yeah. And pan was the one for me. And so, but I do feel really comfortable calling myself queer as well, because as anything, everything is on a spectrum, and the queer spectrum, you don't have to be all the way over here, all the way over there. It can just be.
That's nice for someone who's feeling a little bit lost and they don't know exactly where they fall or how they would define their gender or their sexuality.
Or was like fully, maybe you were a lesbian for the like first like major part of your life, and now you're maybe transitioning into another identity, and that placeholder, like to use queer in the interim is like, it's so relieving.
The stress over that. That makes so much sense. Okay, well, I'm glad I asked that then. I know it's kind of out of left field, but it's something I've always kind of wondered. And, you brought that up, so I'm glad I asked.
I'm so honored to be the first gay person on this show. This is really
No. No. Kyle Brownrigg and Jesse.
Oh, yeah. No.
Probably others I'm not remembering now, but those are the two that come to mind. They would have words with you about that. Jesse would be like,
honored to be the first woman and gay person on your show.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't ask often. It's not...
So honored to be the first woman and gay person with curly hair on your show. This is really an honor.
Okay, well, I have 2 random questions. Or actually, I've got a few more than that, but the 2 that I wanted to start with...
And before you get too far, I've got one more.
Oh, okay. Well, if you can go now if you want.
Okay. So, Glenys.
Yeah.
You live a very creative life. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So,
I painted a bunch of flowers on furniture today.
That's
Creative life.
creative. So, in this creative life, what would you say is your main driver? Is it that you want to develop and explore within yourself, or that you are driven to create to give to others? Or is it something else? Is there a different type of driver?
I think my love for theater and the arts in general I always wanted to I always wanted to excel, basically, which sounds very self-inflated, but my brother was like a star student, star athlete. He was an amazing piano player. My parents, were, very accomplished artists, and they were just like really, really wonderful people who supported me a lot. And so I wanted to be like the best I could possibly be at whatever I was doing. And so this, my original plan when I first got into this, like grade 4 and 5, was like, this is going to be like the thing that I am really, really good at, because math is not working. Math is not going well. So I need something that I'm just going to be really, really good at. And then it started turning into, just this really wonderful sense of community and belonging. And so I think I do it, for a mixture of reasons. It's to work with other creative people that I love so much and respect so much, because I'm just a fan. Like, I'm just such a fan of comedy and theater and music and razzle dazzle. Like, I love it so much, and to be able to kind of brush elbows with these people who I really respect their craft and I really respect their art. That's a really amazing thing. So I do that for myself, because it's like an amazing field to be in, and I feel very honored to be in it and to be around those people. But also, I think just the things that I write and the things that I like to sing about, they really represent like these chapters in my life and these like facets of my brain. These little things that I just want to share in the hopes that maybe somebody will have a similar experience. I have one song that resonated with a lot of people at a show that I just did, which is called Puke Pylons, and it's about like puking in a public place and having pylons, like bright pylons, put around the place that you puke, because that's happened to me 4 times in my life. And so I thought, like, man, like, what if there's somebody else out there who's gotten their puke pylon who needs like a beacon?
You've had that 4 times?
Yeah. Dude, I'm like the Beyonce of getting my puke pylon for sure.
Well, I mean, puking from overindulging or whatever is not that uncommon, especially in your 20s and stuff. But the fact that there were people or pylons and people with pylons.
It's happened throughout my life. Yeah.
Very
every chapter of it.
I'm picturing like little pylon leprechauns or something that come out, little imps.
Yeah.
First, I thought you said you were going to put the pylon on top. These little guys.
It's like, I'll clean up on that floor. Yeah. So I think in that way, it's like for, making those gifts for people. But I think the community aspect is the main driver. I just love working with people and new people with all these new ideas. I just find it so exciting.
That's great. Well,
yeah.
Okay. I'll go on to my question.
And
then.
Also the money. I love all the money, the sweet cash money that keeps coming in. I love bathing in rubies and emeralds and like
Other
Scrooge
various
McDuck.
gems.
I love taking the $75 face peel off my face every morning. Living that life.
Sarcasm.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about this D&D thing I saw you do.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't actually see it, but I wanted to know more about it because it sounded like it was the first time you ever did Dungeons and Dragons.
I had done it a couple times before.
Okay. But your character was a dragonborn wrestler who does macrame.
Yes.
Which made me think of Kelly's thing from the wedding.
Because you did your wedding arch for...
I should say, yeah. I got the ring now.
Oh, beautiful work by Kelly. Shout out to Kelly and her macrame. I love loved the character creation process. I worked with a team to like kind of create this character and learn more about her. She was really fun to play. Her name was Tarragon, or Terry the Waste Layer. And too late to change her name. She hates it, but it's too late to change it. And she was she was part of a duo. And part of her tragic backstory is that her duo partner, which was a halfling, she died in a ring-related incident. And she's like, she thinks it was rigged, and she's like on the case for this mystery of her partner's death. But yeah, I loved playing her. She was so much fun because she almost had like a Kermit type voice. He was like, guys, like violence is like not the answer. Like we really need to like put our heads together and see if there's like a spell that we can use. And, like she's like 8 feet tall, like this horrifying dragon. She's doing like little macrame for her friends.
Did you do this online?
Yeah. This is like an online D&D.
And it rolls the die and all that.
Yes. It's really cool. It's called oh my gosh, I forgot the name of the actual show, but they use this AI to generate ideas for the
like the DM or whatever.
The journey, yeah. And there's a live illustrator as well who like draws the action like as it's happening as you're talking it out, which is so awesome. We'll link it later because it was such a fun show to do, and I'm kicking myself for forgetting the name of it.
So the art I saw, is it like that style?
Yes. Yeah, it's the same artist. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, I definitely want to check that out. That seems like that would make D&D so much more fun.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's not fun. I haven't done it in a long time, but I have fond memories from sleepovers and stuff as a teen or whatever. But
it's an awesome show. Everybody should, if you like D&D, you should go check it out. And it was a really nice show to be booked on because I didn't have a lot of D&D experience, but I love D&D.
That's almost probably better though, because especially like an improver, you'll get so into it.
Yeah, I know, nice. almost too into it. I keep going into soliloquies. When I was in the ring, the only person that knew me.
They're like, we're going to the next village, and you can catch up with us.
It's like, but I never came up. And it's like, okay, Terry, we're leaving.
So funny.
We got ogres to fight.
I also wanted to ask you about your custom clothing.
Yes.
And how you got into that, and do you sell it? Is it the other thing I was wondering, or is it just for your own attire?
Yeah, I don't sell it at the minute. My mom was a home economics teacher, so she is like super knowledgeable and really talented in like sewing and cooking and like housekeeping hacks and like construction and building and,
awesome.
and all this really cool stuff. And so she has like all these amazing sewing supplies like already right there. And I got a sewing machine for Christmas one year. A lot of my main things have just originated from getting a gift from my parents for Christmas. Shout out mom and dad. Thank you for like creating my whole personality just through Christmas gifts.
That's
yeah,
great though. There's nothing better than giving a gift and seeing the person is using it.
Oh, best feeling. Yeah. Best feeling. That's all it is. It's like I'm only playing the guitar just to make my dad happy to think that he didn't.
Did he buy you the guitar?
He did. He bought it for me for my birthday.
Very cool.
But my mom and dad, they bought me a sewing machine for Christmas, and I started. I found this beautiful fabric in my mom's like stash, and all I wanted to do was to make a dress with it. So one day, I kind of like swallowed my pride, and I was like, "Mom, can you please teach me how to sew?" And she taught me like everything I needed to know about how to thread the machine, how to read a pattern, like the light math that was involved. Wasn't too much math for me, so it was good. It was good. And yeah, I just really enjoyed having clothes that really fit me for a change, because I had a really hard time finding clothes that fit my body. And it was really nice to have that control. And also I'm a really big believer in like sustainable fashion and ethical fashion, and I think being able to like maintain your clothes and repair your friends' clothes, and to
and make custom
prevent
stuff
to prevent clothes from going into the thrift store or the landfill is super important. So that's been my little own activism on the side, is like making my clothes and fixing clothes for my friends.
That's super great. Yeah, I have no skills in that at all, even though my mom can. I still will send her something once in a while. She fixed my gloves recently.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, they're my grandpa's gloves, and he passed recently, and they were, I don't know what you call them, but they look like gloves that aviator would have or something. They're like leather, but they're not gigantic, like huge winter mitts.
Right.
They're like November gloves, probably, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
Like driving gloves.
November gloves.
They're,
That's an indie band for sure.
Or an album name or something. Yeah.
Anybody who knows how to like repair knits or like hard fabrics like that, like knows how to like treat leather or do knits or anything like that, just amazing. Yeah. Truly amazing craftsmanship, unlike
all of it impresses me.
Anything. Like sewing now is honestly a little pedestrian when compared to like darning tights or like fixing a sweater or like anything like that.
What the people do
the
for
crochet
cosplay.
girlies. Sorry, what'd you say?
Cosplay. I see people make like armor out of styrofoam and like they'll custom 3D print stuff and it's bananas.
People who cosplay are gonna save us in the apocalypse. I am so convinced.
Non-functional weapons.
Oh my God. I am so freaking impressed by them. And I've always kind of wanted to like dip my toe into cosplay, but
you never have. You seem like someone who would have.
Had the guts. And like I'm a part of so many like fandoms and like I love like anime as well, like giant like cool armor, you know.
Yeah.
And especially like D&D stuff, like just like I love all of that. Like my dream cosplay would to be Alphonse from Full Metal Alchemist.
I'm vaguely familiar. I know the name.
He's just like this sweet little boy in a full tank of armor.
Oh, nice.
It's like a soul of armor, really, and it's so sick. Way
oversized.
Yeah, exactly.
They did that a lot in anime, I think, right? Because like the dude from Final Fantasy has a sword that he clearly couldn't hold.
No, yeah, exactly.
Unless he's super strong. I don't know.
How are you guys getting these weapons so big? How are you making your giant weapons? Like,
why?
I don't, but you know what? At the same time, I kind of want to keep the magic. Like, I don't want to know how they make them. I don't want to know what they're made out of. I want to keep the fantasy like that is a steel sword and they are so strong. I want to keep that magic. Yeah, I love sewing. It's great. I love dressing myself in things that make me feel good. I bet you could sell some of that,
but I guess if you're custom making it for your body.
Yeah, I don't want to sell out.
Yeah.
It'll take the joy out of it for me for sure. Would be
it's like a passion project kind of thing.
Exactly. It's like a love letter to myself. Like, hey, I made you this dress. Oh, thank you, me. You're welcome, me. You know.
But if people go to your Instagram, they can check it out. I saw you have a link there.
Yeah, and so they can inquire curious. Like, hey, do you think you could make me like a skirt for this? And if I have the time, I'll be like, yeah, for sure.
There you go. Yeah. Maybe you'll get some commissions going on.
Oh yeah, totally.
All right. Well, I've got a few fun random questions. These are like off the internet random, like nothing to do with you specifically, but I'd like to know what you think. Bald people, should they have to wear hairnets like for a job? I thought that was a really interesting question. Because if they don't, it seems kind of unfair, like to the other people.
Oh, there's something really funny in seeing a bald man in a hairnet.
Right? Because you could have dandruff still, maybe.
Yeah,
flaky
but I mean,
dermatitis
honestly, I don't think a hairnet's going to stop a flake of dandruff coming off.
I don't know. I guess
if I had a hairnet on and I shook my head, it'd be a white Christmas. Like I don't think it would be doing the job. So no, I don't think I agree with that. I think if you're bald and you're being forced to wear a hairnet, then you need to unionize or something. That's not right.
That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Most embarrassing thing you've ever worn?
Oh my God.
You don't seem like someone that would be easy to embarrass by like wearing something.
From the year, I mean, I would say I'm not embarrassed to have worn these because they're a big part of who I am. But from 2012, I believe, or 2011 to 2015, I didn't wear any other footwear other than this giant pair of cowboy boots that would like click clack as I walked down my school halls, and everybody thought there was a teacher coming, and they'd all like shut up, and then I'd turn the corner and they'd be like, oh, it's just Glenys and her stupid fucking boots. Sorry for swearing. But yeah, I love these boots, and I wore like really bright colored skinny jeans tucked into them, like that was definitely an era for me.
So it's only embarrassing looking back?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, I don't think it's the fact that I wore them. I think it's the length of time, the duration of time, which I was so committed to these boots. Like, these boots are worn.
People were like calling you giddy up and stuff.
Well, people called me Boots sometimes.
Boots? That's kind of
actually,
cool
that's a lie. That's a lie, Oliver. Somebody called me Boots one time, and I made up my email address. So I've got, you know,
Boots something
Glenys
at
Marshall.
Hotmail.
I've got my email, and then I've got boots. It's like something with boots.
It's kind of a cool nickname.
That's my
I
junk
get it.
email. Yeah.
There you go.
A friend of mine actually, one time he got very offended for good reason because he only knew my Boots email and not my professional Glenys Marshall email.
Oh.
He was like, "Am I not important enough for your non-Boots email?"
Yeah, I'm not
and
the
I was
real
like,
deal.
"No, I just like forgot." I felt so bad for that. But yeah, I think that would be it. Otherwise, the
Boots.
usual fodder. Like I layered a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, someone who makes their own clothes, again, as I said it, I'm like, I don't think she's been embarrassed in clothes probably if you're trying things out, you know?
Oh yeah. But I mean, like I'll look back on an outfit that I wore like, you know, a month ago and I'll be like,
Cringe.
oh, why?
But doing acting, you got to dress up in costumes and stuff, so you're probably used to all that.
Yeah. I just, there's so many clothes in the world. I love clothes. I love fashion. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm like obsessed with fashion and color and lines and sculptural things.
It's always
and, like,
changing,
designers.
right?
Oh, it's just like such a cool world. I love fashion so much. And so I'm always like trying to experiment with new like silhouettes for myself and see what I can
But
come up with.
sustainable fashion.
Sustainable fashion.
I'm sure a lot of the big ones are not that.
Yeah.
Some of the like Pradas and Gucci's. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass. I don't know the fashion industry, but I would imagine the ones making tons of money are maybe not the sustainable ones.
Nah, yeah. So sometimes they try to put like this nice green filter over it, but I mean, the fact of the matter is it's just so much product.
Do people still do fur? Is that still a thing? I would like to think but
yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure fur is still very
it's like a
readily
baller
available.
thing to some people, I guess, to be
Yeah.
able to be like, these are real gator shoes or whatever. Like, I don't really get it.
Yeah. It's oh gosh, it's the environmentalist in me, like, and
Oh yeah. If you killed the gator, because let's put it this way, if a man was like, I'm wearing these gator shoes that I made after I killed a gator because it was life or death and he was going to eat my child or something like that, I'd be like, all right, I guess. I still wouldn't personally support that, but I kind of get it in that case. It's like, you almost died. This thing was coming for blood.
I would if you killed that gator and then you used every part of the gator, I think that'd be okay to keep a bit of the hide for boots. But I don't know. I just think there's something so degrading about boots. And I mean, like, I went to talk. I wore leather boots for 4 years of my life.
I'm sure most
and a lot
people
of
are guilty
a lot
of
of
that
shoes
at
are
some point.
leather, obviously. But I think there's just so many other alternatives that we could be exploring,
now.
that we have the money to explore, and that these giant corporations definitely have the means to explore. It's just, especially with like micro trends, and there's such a high turnaround of style right now. And there's so much, like when you think of like 80s fashion, you have like a certain silhouette in mind.
Yeah.
But I
Like
just
neon
think,
is what I think in 80s.
yeah, like neon, like the acid wash jeans, like
Clashing
the
colors.
jumpsuits, the zoot suits. Like there was like a solid fashion for a 10-year period. And then now we're here, and like there's demand for every single thing.
Yeah.
There is like every era that ever was, and especially things to look vintage, like not, really taking care of and curating and making vintage like very affordable and accessible, but like just making like these super cheap knockoffs.
Yeah.
Just to have like the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the amount, like the.
Like you mean the certain amount of sales that they have to guarantee for the company?
It's just the excessive.
The productivity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
No, it's like the jeans that come with like gigantic holes already ripped in them. Like, you think those are going to last very long?
Yeah, and
probably not.
Those are really bad. Those make for really bad working conditions because pre-shredded jeans, like there's so many like fibers and there's so much dye in the air that if you don't have proper ventilation in the building, or if you don't have proper masks for your
Child
employees
laborers.
or for your child laborers,
Myanmar or
then
whatever.
that's like, it's horrible for your lungs, and like acid wash and that kind of thing is horrible for your lungs. Dye on the hands.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like the production of denim in itself is quite unethical as we see it now.
I didn't want to throw
There's a really
Myanmar
good
under the bus
documentary
there.
on denim. If anybody's interested, I think
What's
it's
it
on
called?
Netflix. Oh God, I'm not. I'm really bad at remembering the names of things today. But I don't think there's a lot of documentaries about jeans. So
I'm going to
you'll
try and
find
think of a good name for it now.
Yeah.
It's going to be rattling around in my head.
Oh, riveting.
Riveting,
because
that's
the
good.
rivets on
the. Wait, is that what it was called, or is that what you
Yes,
just
no,
came
that's
up with?
it. That's
Okay.
what it's
I thought
called.
you just came up with that now.
It's like the riveting, like the history of jeans.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and Myanmar, was that a bad country to throw out for child laborers, or is that on the nose maybe?
I'm gonna be real. I don't know a lot about.
Myanmar's got a lot of bad stuff going on.
Okay,
really,
okay.
in
I'm glad.
a lot of areas. Yeah.
Because I just went for it for the effect of just picking a country quick. But
Formerly known as Burma, north of Thailand.
see, that's what I'm talking about with the Trivial Pursuit stuff over here.
Yeah.
Not everyone would know that.
Countries that
certainly
used
didn't.
to be countries are really cool, I think.
Yeah, that's interesting. A lot of them have changed. What's another one that's been changed?
Siam.
Which used to be
No,
it is
It used to be
now.
Siam, now it's Thailand, I believe.
Turkey? No. Oh, Istanbul used to be Constantinople, right? Isn't that a real thing, or is that a joke?
Somebody's got to write a song about that.
that
That
just a
is
joke?
so syllabically good.
According to that song, yes, that's correct.
No, but does that have some significance historically?
Historical, yeah. of
Okay,
course
so
it does,
I didn't know if it was just a silly song. Or,
No.
I'm not an
It's
expert on that stuff.
No, Constantinople was a gigantic megalopolis of its time, sort of a thing. So,
But that's ancient history, or no?
yeah, it's
old.
well, I mean, what's ancient history? I mean, we're
Well,
talking the
2,000
Cretaceous.
years, or
No,
are we
it's not the
talking a couple
Cretaceous,
hundred
but
years?
I don't know. I'm not up on it enough like that. I'd say
That'd be sick. Like Istanbul had dinosaurs.
I honestly don't know. Yeah.
Not that old.
A big asteroid makes it Constantinople. What's in this peach bubbly?
No, yeah, and you didn't even hit the joint, so no, it's all good. You can save it for later, or whatever.
Yeah, well. Hit me with that last question or two.
We've got what characteristic would your hypothetical nemesis have?
Oh, that is a really great question. I think my arch nemesis would not know, or would keep me at a party too long.
Like a bad influence, kind of.
They would. I think there would be I'm imagining the nemesis, they're at a party, and they keep roping me into conversations that I'm I don't have the mental energy to participate in, or be when I'm at a party, when I'm I feel like that's my superpower is when I'm at a party and I don't know anybody, I can really turn it on and insert myself into conversations and find common ground with people. I have this thing that I do called tattoo parlor, which is I take a bunch of temporary tattoos into the person's bathroom whose house it's in, and then everybody starts lining up to get a temporary tattoo from me, but it's only one at a time. So I get to ask them questions about themselves, meet them really good face to face, and then have a point of physical touch with them as I'm applying their tattoo. And then I'm thanks for coming, see you later. And it's a nice quiet part of the party, and then you have a cool temporary tattoo and a fun new friend, and then by the time I get out, I know everybody at the party and they all have temporary tattoos. It is my perfect plan for every party, and it takes 30 minutes.
How many times have you done that?
I've done this a good 4 or 5 times.
Well, I guess if it works,
it works perfectly. But my nemesis would be at that party and just stay in the bathroom for way too long. Or once I got out, would just keep me there at the party for hours and hours after I was meant to be gone. Or my friends were all the way over there. They'd keep me conversationally hostage. and that would be my
nemesis material.
Yeah, being able to kind of see and meet everybody at a party and get out in good time while you're still having a good time is very important to me.
So your nemesis would keep you there basically until the puke police had to show up.
Basically, until I puked in a public spot.
Little pylon guys came out.
Instead of at home, where is the only place you should puke.
I think I already know the answer to this, but do you think that you would be friends with a clone of yourself? Maybe I don't.
Yeah. I think we'd be really, really good friends.
You play guitar? I play guitar.
Oh my gosh. We would just, we'd have the best time. And I really enjoy my own company. That was something that I think the pandemic taught a lot of us, was how to enjoy your own company and kind of revisit what really made us tick and what we enjoyed doing. And I love spending time with myself and having those quiet moments, and also
that sounds so
having
healthy.
and dancing in the kitchen. If there was another me dancing in the kitchen, we're doing these giant choreographed numbers to a Christopher Cross song, would be dun, dun, yeah.
Yeah, you seem so pure and happy and healthy. I got to talk to your 93-year-old doctor you were telling me about.
Yeah. I love my doctor, my family doctor. He's been with us forever. I went to go see him recently because I got a very infected cat bite. Love the cat. I just had never done that before. I was jumping around the apartment because a favorite comedian of mine had followed me on Instagram.
And
I was
Gulman. Was it?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I had him in my notes here. He is very funny.
Oh my God, I love Gary Gulman. It's so embarrassing how much I love Gary Gulman because I don't like putting anybody on a pedestal, and I don't think I put any like celebrity on a pedestal so high.
Yeah, but talk about a vulnerable guy. He's the most vulnerable.
The Gull, like I think he is. Like thinking about him too much, like makes me very emotional.
See that, yeah.
I take so much inspiration from his work, and I really respect who he is as a person, and the and his ability to just make us like connect us all is just, I don't know. I think it's really fantastic, and I've been following him and seeing him live for a number of years, and so. When he, I can't believe this is going to be on the podcast. When he followed me,
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I started like running around the apartment. Like I was just really, really excited. I started like jumping on furniture and like stamping my feet like a little girl.
You had met him several times.
I had,
with your dad.
Yeah.
I saw at least 3 photos of you guys with him.
Yes, yeah. And we had just gone to his show in Toronto, and I had.
But still being followed. That's huge. I get it.
Yeah. I was blown away by that because who am I? But anyway, so
he was probably like, I know this girl. I've met her 3 times with her dad. They were very nice.
Yeah. I mean, we have given him lots of little gifts and shouted him out a bunch of times.
Oh, so there you go.
Maybe he just thought, get off my back, like fine, But I threw myself onto a piece of furniture, and the cat did not like that, and started and bit me. And so I went to the doctors, and he, in his 93-year-old wisdom, kind of looked at the wound, and he said, "Oh dear." And I think that was the equivalent of like, holy shit.
This ain't good. I thought he was going to say, Gary Gulman followed you, didn't he? That's what I could tell as soon as I saw.
Oh my God, this sassy like 93-year-old doctor just like, girl, I know what that means.
Yeah. You got what was coming.
You deserve that.
Do you know Gary Gulman, Dad?
Gotta chill.
Well, he came onto my radar years ago because he was doing these Twitter posts all about like the rules, not rules, but like tips for like stand-up comedy. And every day there would be another one. I don't know how many days he did. It was hundreds.
He did a lot. I liked every single one.
Oh yeah, they were great.
I loved them.
Great, good advice.
So you're saying Gary Coleman?
No, Gulman.
G-U-L.
Like a
Coleman.
seagull.
All I could hear through that was, why is she so obsessed with Gary Coleman?
He's dead.
Is he dead?
Yes, he's been dead for like 5 years.
Well, I didn't know he had died. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, Gary Coleman.
God bless Gary Coleman.
Yeah, poor
He'll
guy
be
had a
missed.
rough life. Yeah, but still, no, Gulman, like seagull. Gulman, yeah. And I saw his special, The Great Depression, and that was very, very cool. And like I said, very vulnerable, which is what I really liked about him. He was very open about mental health stuff and very funny at the same time, of course.
Yeah. And he, like his early stuff is what really made me a fan. Like he can talk for 30 minutes about cookies and like the Nilla wafer, and it's just
he's pretty clean comic most of the time.
Yeah, a lot of the time because he's just too smart.
Yeah, well, he doesn't need the
There's
vulgarity,
just so many things you that, like what I was saying, like there's just so many things that you could be talking about. He really pushes like the limits of what you can talk about as a stand-up comic, and to me it's just like it influences most facets of the work that I do. Every time, like it's WWGG do.
Oh, you're nice.
What would Gary Gulman do? Yeah. I love his hair also. I love his
He's really tall too.
Tousled hair, yeah. He's very tall. He's got tousled hair. He's an easy guy to look at. I'm not gonna lie on this sacred podcast. I enjoy the looks of Gary Gulman. Please never watch this, Gary. I'll die.
I'm going to send it to him.
I'll die.
Tag him in it.
Oh my God.
With that, I have one fun random one that's very short. But if you were to join the Spice Girls, what would your like Spice name be?
Oh, the thing that came to my name first was like Groovy Spice.
That's a cool one.
Because I played with Groovy Girls a lot as a kid.
What's that?
They're like, I describe them as like hippie brats. Like they came with a lot of like kind of psychedelic outfits, like a lot of fringe. Everything was like big, like flower power energy, and they were like soft dolls. Like they were like cloth dolls with like yarn hair, instead of like the Bratz and the Barbies who were like plastic with like this synthetic hair. Like they were very natural,
classic
to hold.
toy. Yeah.
And they were very like they're really nice and diverse, and they had a lot of clothing, and they had bodies that were, you know, nothing that would make you self-conscious about your own body. They were just like a nice cloth doll, and I loved them so much. And so I really loved like the 70s, the 80s aesthetics, and especially with my hair and my style, I think Groovy Spice would be
That's a great answer.
one. I would just wear platform shoes and bell bottoms all the time, which is like part of the Spice uniform.
Yeah, it was pretty much what they wore.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the last question is what we asked everyone this season, which is what is the shittiest job you've ever had?
The shittiest job I've ever had was in Toronto, and I was working at a bagel store, and or it was just like a bakery / restaurant kind of thing. And I remember I was employed for 3 days.
Okay, that's not good.
I kept cutting my hands open, slicing the bagels. I'm gonna turn into Earnestine
People complain
again.
about blood on their bagels.
I kept cutting my hand open with the razors and my apples, and I was trying to cut the bagels, and then I wouldn't realize that I had cut my hand because the knives were so sharp, and then I'd put my hand into like this little bowl of like pickles and capers and vinegary things, and the sting was like, so I was
brutal.
Like, ow. So that job made me say ow a lot.
So wait, quit or fired?
I quit.
Okay.
Yeah.
They weren't like, hey, there's blood in the pickle stuff.
No, and also I felt bad. I was like, I got to get out of here before they find all my blood in the pickles.
Oh my God.
Every week.
That's another band name right there.
And the pickles. Every week they do like a DNA test on the pickles. Like, all right, let's see who's not being sanitary in the pickles. But yeah, I felt really bad. I came up with this excuse about like my bike being broken and not having a way here and not being able to like afford
After
like
3
bus
days.
fare. Yeah, it was a shitty excuse. Like I
Well, how does that
going
pan out like
day.
post that day when they're like, okay, we'll see you on Saturday then? You're like, no, my bike's still going to be broken.
Yeah, I remember they were putting me on payroll as I was quitting, which is a very long process, and I just had to be like, I'm so sorry. You know?
Oh yeah, they're doing all the paperwork.
Yeah,
your
it was
mother's
just a
maiden
really-
name.
Yeah, fast-paced environment. Just couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I'm at a
screw
really
that.
nice kind of desk job right now, and I really enjoy it. Especially
cutting
just
bagels
I've
for
got my manager I love. We're like best pals. It really is the people that you work with.
And now if you're cutting bagels, it's for you.
Yeah,
In the
exactly.
break room.
Yeah,
That's it.
bagels
Right
are
on.
my own. I know. Imagine I developed an unhealthy relationship to bagels. I couldn't cope. I love bagels.
They're pretty great.
I love bagels.
We could totally segue into the Philly cream cheese thing, but let's wrap, I guess.
Yeah.
But people should check out that audition you did as well.
Yeah, my hodgepodge of YouTube projects.
Yeah, it's very funny stuff.
You might find something that you like.
Well, thanks for coming. We high five at the end.
Oh, very nice.
Boom.
This is a blast. Thank you so much.
Yes, this was totally way overdue.
And thank you for your questions as well, Brian. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for watching.